One thing I consistently do in graduate school is define terms, which is good because another consistent part of graduate school is that I think I know what terms mean and then realize I don't actually. I appreciate this exercise of defining terms because I often use terms to which I don't know precise meanings, and clarifying them helps me sharpen those meanings and therefore my thinking. At the beginning of my digital rhetorics course, our professor asked us to define rhetorics and digital. According to my memory, this was a challenging activity. I think perhaps because we were having a hard time, we started mentioning terms we associated with the digital, and that helped, but offering examples and offering definitions are different things. After our activity, I continued to think about this term. What is digital? I kept asking in my head, is this digital? When I encountered different experiences as part of my everyday comings and goings. Email is digital, isn't it? But why? Is non-email mail digital? Why? When our study group started thinking about ideas for our final projects, I offered that I would probably do something to respond in an extended way to lingering questions from the class, among which was the question of digitalness. As the group helped me brainstorm ideas for how to present my project, we started joking around that I could do some sort of Ken Burns spoof, asking in an artsy way, is this digital? We started listing all the things this could refer to. It was hilarious. It still is. I guess you had to be there. But really, what is digital? What makes something digital? To help me figure out how to define digital, I started asking my family and friends, what does it mean for something to be digital? Here are the responses they gave me. Compression, something electronic, something that isn't physically tangible. Some people defined it by what it wasn't, something analog, mechanical. Others defined it as how information was accessed, through an electronic means like via a smartphone or a television or online. Most people were confused by my question. And I don't blame them. Think about it for yourself. What does it mean for something to be digital? The only two people who had definitive answers for what it means for something to be digital were engineers. Andy, a friend and mechanical engineer, defined digital as a binary, a 0 or a 1. Manit, my brother, a software engineer, said that digital is discrete values, usually 0 or 1, based on signal strength like voltage. When he uses job-specific terms, he often says words I understand separately, but not together. And then he dropped this on me. A thing being electronic has nothing to do with the distinction between digital and analog. Excuse me? Again, a thing being electronic has nothing to do with the distinction between digital and analog. Is this a definitive definition of digital? Or can digital also mean something that's electronic? To illustrate what I mean, a comparison. A few years ago, my same brother and I got into one of the biggest arguments we've ever had about the term barbecue. Having lived in Atlanta for 11 years, I have redefined my definition of barbecue to refer to how a meat is cooked, smoked, in a smoker. If you have prepared smoked meat, you have barbecue. But people outside the South don't define it that way. For them, when you cook on a grill, that's barbecue. My brother claimed that you can use the term both ways and people know what you mean. I maintain that you could not use the term barbecue unless you're referring to a noun, like a plate of smoked meat, and not the verb, as in somebody grilling. We argued for days until my husband said it was the stupidest argument ever and we should just shut up and stop talking about it. Is this similar as the definition of digital? Specialists have one definition and laypersons have another. Besides your profession, what other identity features could influence your conceptualization and definition of digital? Age, able-bodiedness, gender? When do our definitions of digital matter? What can our definitions of digital tell us about how we see the world? Would a better understanding of what is digital help us understand our digital identities?